All right, welcome to this tutorial on making your hybrid animal. So we always want to start with our document at the size we're intending to print at. So I'm going to make a new document. I'm going to make sure that it is letter sized. Now the orientation will depend upon your animal. My cat is oriented vertically, so I'm going to do portrait orientation. But yours might be a horse or something, in which case you would use probably a landscape orientation. So you have the choice, okay? Make sure it's 300 pixels per inch. So I use the print preset because all of those are 300 pixels per inch. But you can manually type in your resolution. Check your units, right? You don't want to have it be inches, pixels per centimeter, okay? So double check your units and then create your document. All right, now I'm going to copy my background image, which is going to be a cat. So filter by size, make sure you're getting a decent resolution. This one is pretty big. You want to make sure that your images are both good quality, okay? So I'm just going to copy this, and then I can paste it into Photoshop, and it'll be embedded in there. So Command V or Edit Paste. Now I want to fill the page with my animal, so I'm just going to resize my cat, press Enter, and notice when I pasted it in there, it created a new layer. So I have a blank background, and now my cat layer. Now I need to find my mouse image. Now it's important that your pose matches. So in this case, the cat is looking straight ahead, so I want to get a frontal shot of a mouse. If your animal is looking sideways and it's a profile view, make sure your other animal is in profile view. Okay. Also, the camera angle, like if it's a low angle shot, match that. You also generally want to try and match the lighting. So this is fairly even lighting. There's not a lot of really dark shadows. So I'm going to look for a mouse that matches. So I go back to my browser here. I'm going to search for mouse. And there are some options here. This one looks pretty good. I'm going to use this one. 1200 by 1200, so decent resolution, frontal view more or less. So I'm just going to copy that image, and then I will paste it into Photoshop. Okay. Now I have to size and position it, but the problem is I can't see the cat anymore. So what I want to do is actually go to my layer menu and lower the opacity on my mouse layer. So I have the mouse layer selected. Now by lowering the opacity, I can see both at the same time. Okay, and that lets me resize it, position it. Now notice if I move my cursor to the corner, see how my cursor goes from a pointer to a sizing double-sided arrow, and then, oh, now I got this rotation option. So sometimes you want to rotate. So I can just move it, readjust the size. Once I have it sized and positioned, I put my opacity back. Now I'm going to mask it. Okay, do not use the eraser tool. The eraser tool you can't undo. Okay, but the masking you can. So the way masking works is in your layer palette, you click on this button here. This is the mask tool. And watch what happens when I click on it. It creates this other box that's linked. So the way a mask works is whatever's white in the mask is visible and whatever's black in the mask is hidden. So if I were to paint on this with a black brush, okay, let's make our brush bigger. It will erase. See that? My opacity on my brush is at 49, so it's only partially erasing. Now it's erasing everything. Notice how my mask has changed. So the part that's black has now been erased. See that? See how my mask updates? So that's how that works. Okay, the brilliant part about it is if I go to my toolbar and flip my color back to white, I can bring it back. So if you make a mistake, you can undo. Okay, whereas if you're using the eraser, once you close your project and reopen it, you can't undo it. Okay, so it's non-destructive. All right, so this is why at the bottom of your toolbar, you always have this right here. Okay, even if I had different colors for my foreground and background, I can always switch it back to black and white clicking right here because masking is used a lot in Photoshop. And you can flip your colors. So sometimes I'm painting in black to erase, and then if I want to switch it, click on this little arrow thing, and now I have white to bring my detail back. Okay, now when you're using the brush tool, check this out. This is the brush tool. And then up at the top, I have brush types. Okay, so I can select different brushes. So I can click here. They're categorized, so it's in folders here. So general brushes we use a lot. So sometimes I'm using a hard brush, sometimes I'm using a soft brush. You can change your brush size right here. Okay? You can also change your brush opacity. So if the opacity is at 100%, I'm erasing 100%. If I lower the opacity, it'll erase less. And that helps us to blend. So let's check out what this hard edge brush does. Make sure we're on our mask. Make sure we're in black to erase, which I'm not. Okay, and let's erase. Bam, you see how it's like giving a hard edge? Let's switch it to a soft brush. Go up here, soft brush, and let's erase. Oh, you see how it does a soft edge? So soft brushes are good for blending. Now let's go like this. See how it erased everything there? Okay, but if I lower the opacity, okay, it only erases, well, that kind of looks cool just like that. The mouse or the cat face. See how it's erasing a little bit? So this is good for blending. When you have a combination of mouse fur and cat fur, it kind of looks more convincing. So I'm just going to undo some of this. Okay, so let's do this proper and blend it. So I'm going to go make sure my mask is selected. Now selected means highlighted like this. See how now my mouse is selected, now my cat is selected, now my mask is selected. So if you want to adjust your mask, it has to be clicked on. Okay, got my black brush, soft brush is good. And I'm just going to erase the stuff that I know I'm not going to use. So I'll keep my opacity at 100%. I'm not going to use his hands, I'm not going to use his butt, like this, okay. Now, you could do a selection. I could select the mouse and say select subject, and it does like an auto select. And then I can invert the selection so I have everything around the mouse selected, and then when I paint with black, it'll only affect the area around the mouse. See that? It's like restricting it. So that's useful sometimes. Deselect. So now I'm just blending. So blend, blend, blend. Maybe now is when I want to really be careful not to erase too much. So I probably lower my opacity, maybe adjust my brush size. So we're often adjusting the brush size and the opacity depending on which part we're working on. So I'm going to go here, erase the feet, make it a bit bigger. Okay. Sometimes we just chip away at the edge. Really what I want here is just the mouse face and the edge of the cat I want to keep. Okay, just like that. Blend, blend, blend. Now I have a problem here. I can see the top of the cat's head and I can see a little tip of his ears. So sometimes you want to adjust the background layer, in this case the cat. And you can toggle the visibility of these things on and off, like that. You can also toggle that off. So I can see there's lots of the mouse that I didn't get to. Maybe I'll take my opacity back to 100%, just erase all this. Okay. So I want to erase part of the cat. So I go to the cat layer, and to erase, we're going to use a tool called the clone stamp tool. Okay, and that lets me clone some of the pixels from the background and paste it over top. So again, make sure you're on the right layer. I'm on the cat layer. And a clone stamp uses the exact same brushes. Soft brushes, you got your brush size, you got your brush opacity. So I'm going to go to 100% opacity. And to target the area of pixels you want to use, you hold down the Option key. And we use the Option key a lot in this program, right? So Option converts it to a little target symbol, and then you click. So I'm saying copy this, Option click, and then paste it. So I'm actually altering the cat background layer here. Let's hide the mouse so we can see what we did. Oh, we actually just did like a copy paste. Okay, so sometimes that's necessary just to make it look convincing. All right, I'm not going to spend a lot of time blending it. I could do a lot better job than this. But the other thing I want to show you is adjustment layers. So if you go into Window, you have all the menus of the program. Adjustments is near the top here. And this lets us adjust things like color balance and contrast. Okay, so if you want to affect the mouse layer, the head, I click on the mouse layer, and then I click on single adjustments. Let's do contrast, because the cat layer is more contrasty than the mouse layer. So I click on that, and then you should have the properties window show up. And you see it added a new layer here. This is an adjustment layer. Okay, it has a little box, kind of like a mask. It has the link. And then if I adjust the contrast or the brightness, watch what happens. It's affecting everything. Okay? So right now, it'll affect everything underneath the adjustment layer. Now, if in the properties window I click on this button, it changes it. So now it's only affecting the layer directly beneath the adjustment layer. That's what we want. Okay, so I only wanted to adjust the contrast on the mouse layer to match it. Okay, and there's other adjustments you can do. So let's do hue saturation. Again, it created another layer. Okay, let's do a saturation adjustment. Whoa, again, it affected everything, right? But if I click on that little button, it restricts the change just to the mouse. Okay, that's a bit nuts. But sometimes you do have to desaturate. If you desaturate all the way, it goes to black and white. That's the intensity of the color. You can shift the hue, make your mouse blue, make them green. Sometimes that's useful. There's a lightness slider, kind of like brightness. And if you want to go back, so maybe I decide, oh, I want to play around with the brightness, you can click on that, and now we're in the brightness setting. Okay, so you could adjust that. So these are all fully editable. You can turn the adjustment on and off if you want by clicking on the eyeball. And if you want to delete it, just click on the icon, and then in your layer palette, you can trash the adjustment. Just deletes that whole adjustment layer. Okay? So there's a whole bunch of them. Color balance is one many of you will use. Like you may decide, oh, it's too warm, I want to cool it. So this makes it more cool, right? Takes it away from the yellow. Maybe it's like too magenta, you can pull that aside. So for subtle color changes, color balance is very useful. All right? So this is an assignment you're going to print onto letter size paper. I also want you to add a title, so you can add a text layer and do some kind of treatment to your text. Maybe you could use image in text, right? An image mask. You could try some layer styles, right? Obviously, look at different fonts and come up with a creative name for your creature. Okay. Any questions? All right, that's it for today. Thank you, guys.